Now, this is how it's done. Democrats finally going on the offense and cross-examining these MAGA Republican witnesses. Trump cabinet members, one by one, getting destroyed by Democrats during congressional hearings today. You had Donald Trump's Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, crumbling under cross-exam. And then you had Donald Trump's Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK Jr., saying the most ridiculous things when cross-examined with some of the most basic of questions. Let me show you what went down. First, Democratic Congress member Eric Swalwell, himself a former federal prosecutor, was asking Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem some very basic questions. Like, he showed her the photo that the Trump regime manipulated of Abrego Garcia's hands, where the Trump regime literally wrote the letters or photoshopped in the letters MS-13. And Eric Swalwell said, so is that photoshopped or not? Watch Kristi Noem's response. Let's play this clip.
You agree, though, that this is doctored. Is that right?
The same protocols that are
Madam
applied
Secretary,
to every
I want you to have
with
credibility,
law
and
enforcement.
I want you to be taken seriously. Is this doctored or is it not
Sir,
doctored?
I am taken quite seriously.
Is it
because
doctored or not
With
doctored?
the importance that the president has given me to do
I understand.
my job.
Is it doctored or not
One thing
doctored?
that's important to remember is that every single time a case is built,
Madam Secretary, I have a
against
7-year-old, a
individuals,
6-year-old, and a
same
3-year-old. I have a bullshit detector. I'm just asking you, is this doctored or not doctored?
Sir, the protocols in the case built against
Can you
Abrego
answer the
Garcia
question?
were exactly the same.
Madam Secretary,
I don't have
you're-
any knowledge as to that photo you're pointing to.
Okay, can you
I
take
don't,
her,
sir.
can you show her the photo? Walk her the photo down there. No, that one. Please take a look at this photo. It was tweeted by the president on April 21. It's been hanging out there for about a month.
So what is your point?
Next up, Democratic Congress member Dan Goldman asking a very basic question to Homeland Security Secretary and dog killer Kristi Noem. Will you give Abrego Garcia due process? Yes or no? Play this clip.
To follow this court order.
By the way, he identified
Madam Secretary,
himself.
I
was
reclaim my
surrounded.
time. Stop
He was
filibustering.
surrounded. He
Stop
was
filibustering.
surrounded by gang members of MS-13.
Will you give Mr. Abrego Garcia the due process that the Supreme Court and Judge Wilkinson has required you to give him?
Abrego Garcia is an El Salvador resident who is in his home country. If he were to come back to this country, he would be immediately removed again.
How do you know?
He has received and been treated appropriately,
So
sir, and he is not.
How can
in
you
this
say he's
country
been
anymore.
treated
For
appropriately
advocacy,
if the Supreme Court has ruled 9-0, 9-0, that he hasn't been treated appropriately? Why is your opinion better
we had
and
two
have
judges,
more authority than the Supreme Court?
investigators, 2 judges, an immigration court that all said he was MS-13 and was removed from this country.
But you understand, that is you saying that. That is you saying that.
That is them saying that. This
No,
is
no, no, no.
investigators and law
That is
enforcement
you
officers
making
and
that
the case they built
determination.
against him. If you don't
The
trust our law
court
enforcement
has
officers
considered all that.
and
The judge has
investigators,
considered all that,
then
Madam
who do you
Secretary.
trust if you
And
don't
if you would
trust
be quiet
judges?
because I'm reclaiming my time.
And then I like that he fact checks her and says, well, then you're defying the Supreme Court and you are violating the law, Kristi Noem. Next up, you have RFK Jr. refusing to say if he would vaccinate his children today from polio. Play this clip.
Just one last one, just a yes or no, please, if we could. Polio?
Polio. Again, I don't want to be giving advice.
That's fair. No, that's fair. Like I said, I was not doing it as a gotcha. I was just
I
thought it could be helpful if. Okay.
And here, RFK Jr. refuses to say if he would vaccinate his children today from measles, and then adds, I don't think people should take medical advice from me. Play this clip.
I think that might be helpful is you've previously said you vaccinated your children. Just because I think this is a helpful answer, and this isn't a gotcha, I promise. If you had a child today, would you vaccinate that child for measles?
For measles, probably for measles. What I would say is my opinions about vaccines are irrelevant. I have directed Jay Bhattacharya.
Sure. No, like I said, I don't want to.
So that everybody can make that decision. But I don't want to seem like I'm being evasive.
Yeah.
But I don't think people should be taking medical advice from me.
Right. No, I got that. And I'm not asking you to give them medical advice, but would you vaccinate your child for measles?
If I answer that question directly, that it will seem like I'm giving advice to other people, and I don't want to be doing that. I want people to make.
But that's kind of your jurisdiction because CDC does give advice, right? I'm not trying to do it as a gotcha. It's just
Now, we have the largest measles outbreak in recent history in the United States. And I think what has even been reported about that outbreak is understating it because we don't have any real good data collection anymore. But just think about those responses right there from RFK Jr. Truly dystopian and truly horrifying. Next up, and here's another portion of Democratic Congressmember Dan Goldman's cross-exam of Kristi Noem. Let's watch this.
If your continued advocacy for him were to...
I'm not advocating for him. I'm advocating for a court order, Madam Secretary. The court order says that you must take steps to follow the court order. You are here under oath. What steps have you taken to return Mr. Abrego-Garcia pursuant to this court order?
It's got to be extremely discouraging to be one of your constituents. To see you fight for a terrorist like this and not fight for them is extremely alarming to me.
I'm fighting for due process, and that's under the Constitution.
Gentleman's time has expired.
For due process.
The gentleman's time has expired. I now
Here's more of the exchange between Kristi Noem and Congressmember Swalwell. Let's play it.
Begin with.
So, Madam Secretary, thank you, Mr. Burnett. 2 weeks ago, your agency deported a 4-year-old American citizen in a stage 4 cancer battle. What are you doing to get him back to the country so he can get his treatment?
Congressman, this mother wished to keep her family together and to take her child with her. So as every single person is given the opportunity to, medical care is given throughout the process.
Okay. So it sounds like
and
nothing.
For this child, medical care was confirmed in their home country so that it would continue, and those treatments and whatever needs were needed to be had into the future were confirmed to be provided there before.
That child's home country is the United States. Do you believe you have a right to deport a U.S. citizen?
That mother chose to keep her family together, and that is what President Trump is focused on.
That's not the facts of the case.
Yes, it is the facts.
Madam Secretary, moving on.
Do you believe that she wanted to keep her child with her, and our family?
Thought Democratic Congressmember Seth Magaziner from Rhode Island was asking some pretty good questions, and watch what happened when he used his time. Play this clip.
Graph here of André Hernandez Romero, a gay makeup artist from Venezuela. He fled Venezuela fearing gang violence because of his opposition to the Maduro dictatorship and his sexual orientation. He presented himself at a port of entry and requested asylum. His claim was found to be credible, and he was placed in detention to await a full hearing. But he never received a full hearing because you put him on one of those planes to El Salvador, where he still is today. Listen to me. He had no criminal record in the United States or in any other country. He did not even enter the country illegally. He presented at a port of entry. He tried to do it the legal way. And to this date, the only evidence your department has presented to justify his imprisonment is that he had 2 tattoos, one that said mom and one that said dad. Do you have any other evidence to present for why this individual should be locked up in El Salvador?
Sir, every case is used the same protocols and the same processes and inputs.
Do you have any evidence other than the tattoos that say mom or dad for why this individual should be locked up?
It's who they're affiliated with, their communication.
You have not presented any other evidence, nor has your department. Reclaiming my time during your confirmation.
Going back to Democratic Congressmember Eric Swalwell, here he talks about how he was a former federal prosecutor who put gang members in prison for the rest of their life. And he said, I didn't have to cosplay or dress up or play make-believe and pretend because I used the full force of the United States law on my side and I got convictions. That's what you have in a country of law and order. Kristi Noem, play this clip.
I'm a former prosecutor. I have put people away for life sentences who are gang members. I don't need to wear costumes to show how tough I am. What makes me different from you is when I put those individuals away, I did it with the weight of the law behind me. And I yield back.
Next up, Democratic Congresswoman Ramirez to Kristi Noem. Play this clip.
And service programs and citizenship and integration grants. You've obstructed and roughed up members of this committee as they attempted to conduct congressional oversight, and then you vilified them. But my question is, if they were so bad, why were they allowed to go in after to conduct oversight? Let me just continue. You redirected funds to terrorize our communities. You created taxpayer-funded political propaganda campaigns to terrorize families and children who don't sleep at night because of the terror of those commercials that you are putting out there. You hold sick, disrespectful press conferences in my state where, let me be clear, you are not welcome.
There's another portion of Congressmember Magaziner's questioning. Play this clip.
Now I'll recognize Mr. Magaziner for 5 minutes.
Madam Secretary, on April 24th, a woman in Louisiana was deported along with her 7-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son, both of whom were U.S. citizens. The 4-year-old son had stage 4 cancer. Now, you just stated under oath that the mother consented to having her U.S. citizen children removed. But I have spoken with the attorney for that U.S. citizen child with stage 4 cancer. She has also made numerous statements to the press in which she stated unequivocally that at no time did the mother consent to her U.S. citizen children being removed. What evidence do you have to support your claim that she did consent?
Congressman, we followed the same policies and procedures.
What evidence do you have?
And we
what
have
evidence do you have?
We have documentation that
what documentation do you have that mother consented?
We'll get that to you, sir. I don't have it with me.
Please do. I understand it's hard to keep them all straight because
you've
you've deported multiple U.S. citizen children, but I'm asking specifically about the 4-year-old with cancer who was deported on April 25th. For the record, that family was also not given access to legal counsel before they were deported, even though their lawyer was in the same building at the time. I'm holding in my hands here a document called ICE Directive 11064, Interests of Non-Citizen Parents and Legal Guardians of Minor Children. This is the policy for how ICE agents should handle situations like this. It states unequivocally that parents and legal guardians should have the ability to make alternative care arrangements for minor children prior to their arrest or detention, and that ICE must afford parents the opportunity to consult with legal counsel. So, did the ICE agents working on this case who deported this 4-year-old with cancer of their own volition fail to follow ICE policies, or were they directed to by your office or anyone else in DHS leadership?
Sir, this mother chose to keep her child with her.
You have not produced any evidence to say so, but I'm asking again, have you directed DHS officers to ignore this
It's
policy?
very different than the previous administration. Right. The previous administration
on March 15th, reclaiming my time, on March 15th,
So after all of that was going down, one of the tactics that I've been sharing with you before of these MAGA Republican Congress members was to basically shut down the time of Democratic Congress members when they were speaking the truth. Here's an example where the MAGAs tried to shut down Democratic Congress member Jake Auchincloss from just laying out the facts that under the current tax bill, people's Medicaid would be eliminated and that it was a total scam to try to lie to people and say that Medicaid was being protected here. Here, play this clip.
I want to briefly touch on something that the gentleman from Ohio raised with the copays, which I believe are $35 per doctor's visit now. And my question for the gentleman from Georgia, our chair, is why are copays acceptable for primary care visits for Medicaid for low-income patients when they're not for prescription drugs? The gentleman from Georgia has done terrific bipartisan work on lowering copays for prescription drugs. How does that, though, apply to this situation where you're claiming to be strengthening Medicaid and yet you're putting barriers to care for primary care, which we know to be just as preventative and helpful in avoiding downstream costs as prescription drug adherences? So what's like the philosophical difference there?
What we're doing is we're trying to mirror what is in current law for optional cost sharing policies in Medicaid. This is not something new. This is something that has been done in the past and something we're going to continue. This is part of the savings to make sure that we stabilize this program, that we sustain this program, that it's going to be there in the future for the most vulnerable in our society.
But you're not putting those $35 back into Medicaid. Like Mr. Landsman said.
The gentleman's time has expired.
A powerful moment from Democratic Congressmember Horsford right here.
They can't even afford rent, let alone covering health care for themselves or their children. But do you see what they're doing? They're cutting health care for 13.7 million Americans, the largest cut to health care in U.S. history, to give tax cuts to billionaires and to big corporations. Yep. This is your priority. Live with it. Defend it. Speak about why it is you are doing this. Yeah. Because that is the consequence of your actions. Donald Trump told you to do it? Or is this what your constituent asked for?
And here they are trying to cut off Democratic Congressmember Horsford as well. Let's play it.
The ranking member of the Trade Subcommittee is absolutely right. The president has no authority to enact these emergency tariffs. And if it was an emergency for fentanyl, why is he now lifting the emergency and extending the dates? And where are the Republicans, and why are you capitulating your Article 1 constitutional right to oversee this executive branch? That's your job. Don't cut me off.
The gentleman's time has expired.
I'm here to represent my constituents.
The gentleman's time has expired. The question is on agreeing.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Powerful moments right there at that hearing. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers, and thanks for watching.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.